Good morning. Thank you for joining us for the Module 1 of Creating Responsive Proposals. The Module 1 is the Preliminaries, Learning the Rules of the Road. I have to do an ad for our center, which means that Montana PTAC is made possible by Big Sky EDA and its partner organizations across the state. This Procurement Technical Assistance Center is funded in part through a cooperative agreement with the Defense Logistics Agency. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So before we move into the lesson today, I want to talk about some commonly used words that the government uses. So as we go through this lesson, you will hear these and actually know what they mean. We have sent these out also as a handout. So if you would pull that out, the first one is best value. And best value means best value to the government. FAR. FAR means Federal Acquisitions Regulation. It's the rule book for businesses. Federal government fiscal year. That is October 1 through September 30th. NAICS means North American Industry Classification System, and it is used by the United States, Canada, and Mexico to classify businesses by industry. Each business is classified into a 6-digit NAICS code number based on the majority of activities of the business. Past performance, information regarding a contractor's actions under previous contracts and orders, also is an indicator of future performance and is one of the most relevant factors that a contracting officer considers in awarding a contract. SAM, that is the System for Award Management, the database that if you want to do business with the government, you need to be in this database. Small business set-asides. The various ones are 8A. This is a business development program. Woman-owned small business program. Service disabled veteran-owned small business. All mentor protege program and hub zone program. So over the next 4 weeks, we will be looking at 4 separate modules. The one today will be the Preliminaries, Learning the Rules of the Road. Next week will be Module 2, Preparation, Getting Ready to Write a Proposal. Module 3, Execution, will be Organizing a Responsive Proposal. And Module 4 will be Follow-up, Building a Relationship, Win or Lose, Wednesday, March 16th. The Module 3 has been changed from Wednesday, March 9th to Thursday, March 10th. So, Module 1, the Preliminaries. And the key differences between, I went too far, excuse me. Key difference between bids and proposals. So bids are submitted in response to invitation for bid, and awards are made based on price and price-related factors. Proposals are submitted in response to a request for proposal, and awards are made based on price and non-price factor. Quality is most frequently considered. It's important to know that we are focusing this entire workshop on preparing proposals, not bids, although we will show you what the differences are moving forward. So, what influences proposal selection? As you can see here, the left side of the screen relates to acquisitions where the government's requirement is clearly defined and the risk of unsuccessful contract performance is minimal. Cost or price may play a dominant role in the government's source selection process. Right side. If the government's requirement is less definitive or more development work is required, or when the performance risk is high, technical or past performance considerations will play play a dominant role in source selection. So the concepts of responsiveness and responsibilities. These are universally practiced in government at the federal, state, and local levels. And they are these two concepts. A public contract is not awarded unless these two requirements are met. So what do they mean? Responsiveness. This refers to you, the company, your offer, okay? Your company's offer, your submittal in response to the invitation for a request for proposal. And basically, your responsiveness relates to following instructions. Responsibility refers to you, the company, your ability and your qualifications, being able to perform the contract that you are submitting for. A judgment is made about your company's capabilities, capacities, and proficiencies. It's important to know the difference between these two terms. So, responsiveness and responsibility. In a bid, responsiveness is unforgiving. If you make a mistake, leave something out, or don't follow the instructions, your bid will be rejected. In a proposal, responsiveness is still important, but a proposal can be changed to make it more acceptable if the government decides to enter into negotiations with you. At this time, you are submitting your best and final offer. So they use the term acceptable sometimes rather than responsive to describe a proposal, but it basically means the same thing. Examples of responsiveness. Offer submitted on time to occur location. This is important to look at because you have to decide if it's worth it because of the delivery instructions. And as we get into it more down the road in the different modules, you'll understand why this is important. Pricing information is complete. Reference submitted in accordance with solicitation instructions. Offer takes no exception to specifications. If they're asking for it signed in blue ink, you sign it in blue ink, and you're obeying the page limitations. A little more about responsibility. Financial resources. You can comply with the delivery requirements. You have satisfactory prior performance. You have a good record of integrity and business ethics. You have adequate management and technical skills. You have adequate facilities and equipment, or otherwise you are eligible to receive an award. So financial resources, you think, well, I need a lot of money to do that. No, that could relate to maybe an adequate accounting system, is you are able to keep all your different contracts separate, and you show that you can do that. Four words that the government uses. So here are two of them. Solicitation, and it's an advertised invitation to submit a bid, a quote, or a proposal to fulfill a requirement of the government. Sometimes it's referred to as an invitation for bid, RFQ, or RFP. Excuse me. Once issued, communication with vendors cease. Pre-solicitation. This is a summary of an upcoming solicitation that's not yet ready for a formal response. It's usually issued at least 15 days before the solicitation. And during this time, you can ask questions and offer suggestions and information. The next two words. Combined synopsis solicitation. This is an advertised solicitation for commercial items, and it's valued at less than the simplified acquisition threshold, which is generally $250,000. Sources sought. This is a published synopsis to determine whether there is interest in a given solicitation. It requests parties to submit their capabilities to determine their ability to perform. And it often is used to determine whether a set-aside to a small business can be justified. Sources sought is very important because you get a chance to give information to a contracting officer that may be not very knowledgeable on this type of contract. We had an example of a company that saw a sources sought, was sure they could do it, but never sent their information in. And we're just going to wait for the solicitation to come out. Well, because the agency received 3 competitive bids and companies that were able to perform on this contract, they did not have to put it out for full and open solicitation. So sources sought, if you can do it, respond and give the agency your information and what they are asking for. The rules of the road is basically the summary of what we just talked about. So you learn the difference between a bid and a proposal, and contract awards based on proposals are made on the basis of price and other factors that may be more important than price. The importance of following instructions in an RFP, responsiveness or acceptability, and the importance of being able to meet the responsibility standards set forth in an RFP. And also we looked at the meaning of various words the government uses. So when you signed up for this webinar, you were given a pre-solicitation exercise. And we are going to kind of take a look at this now. This pre-solicitation is for government maintenance services with the Department of the Air Force. Here's the document, and I have gone ahead and highlighted some items in this document so that you don't have to go through all of it as we are doing this training, because it would take too long and we have a short amount of time. But take time on your own to look at this type of document, okay? They are setting this aside for 100% hub zone. They are looking at an IDIQ, and it'll kind of tell you what that is there. And they have also given you information of where you can find additional information on this contract when it is put out there. And it is incumbent upon the interested parties, it says, to review this site frequently for any updates and amendments. Then it gives you the contact and the secondary point of contact that you can ask questions for. So this is a really short sources or pre-solicitation, but it has a lot of information in it. So you can ask yourself these questions. What does this notice present the opportunity to do? And are there any restrictions? Well, it gives you the opportunity to begin a dialogue and a relationship. Note, as I said before, that this is a hub zone competitive set aside. If you are not located in a hub zone and you have not been approved as a hub zone business, you cannot bid on this contract. Question number 2, what research should an interested vendor conduct? Vendors should ask whether there's an incumbent, if past experience has been satisfactory, what is the biggest challenge, and when the solicitation is scheduled to be issued. And then you can check fpds.gov to determine past pricing history. For more information on that, fpds.gov, we can give that to you. You can shoot us an email and we can send you the information, or we can do a separate training with you on that. Number 3, can you contact the government's point of contact to ask a question or make a suggestion? Yes, you can do that with a pre-solicitation, but not with a solicitation. And then the final question, what should a vendor anticipate about this assignment? Each vendor should think about its capacity to provide the necessary level of personnel, equipment, tools, supervision, and other items to satisfy the requirements. And a visit to the base would be necessary to fully understand the scope of work and any access restrictions, etc. So there's also some other important tidbits in this document. There will be a base year with a possibility of 4 option years. Past performance will be considered in the selection process, not just price. And the solicitation and any amendments to it will be posted in January. Exercise number 2, sources sought. Canine tactical equipment for U.S. Special Operations Command. If you would pull out that document, we can take a look at it. As you can see, I have highlighted various items on this document. Sources sought, this is not a notice of solicitation, market research, all the different things that they have put in here that I feel are important for you to know about when you are responding to a sources sought. Contractors responding to this are requested to provide, and then it lists them out. It talks about when responses are due, when they should be submitted, and additional information. So, why should a small business respond to this? Well, because a decision on whether to make a small business set aside depends on whether small businesses respond to this sources sought. By responding, are you in contention for a contract? No. As it said, it is a sources sought and not a solicitation. And your response is not a proposal. You are responding to acquaint the government with your capabilities and in order to influence the eventual solicitation that they will be putting out. Sending a copy of your company brochure is an adequate response, correct? No. It's very important to provide a tailored response to the questions that were asked in the sources sought and not use stock answers or information. And of the 4 response points listed, which one is the most important? All of them are important. One of the things that you need to see is you need to read and respond to exactly what they are asking for. That's why it's very important to go through the entire document, read it once, twice. And this one is a little more detailed than others that I have seen, but one of the things they said in here is there is a 5-page limitation on responses. So if you put in 6 pages, you will be considered unresponsive. So just a couple of things that are really important to understand is that don't give the government more than they ask for. Give them exactly what they ask for. But if a contracting officer calls you and asks for information, go ahead and give it to them. This is a very rare occurrence, and this may be the only opportunity you have to talk to these people. So I want to thank you for participating in this webinar today. Here is our contact information. If you have additional questions or have suggestions, please contact either Shannon or myself. The next 3 modules are Module 2, which is the preparation, getting ready to write a proposal. Module 3, which is execution, organizing a responsive proposal. And Module 4, follow-up, building a relationship, win or lose. Thank you very much for participating.